Hey everyone, what's up? We're so excited for today's vlog. So excited I forgot to change. Just a sec. There we go. That's much better. We're excited because you know as well as we do that Santorini is such a popular destination that people only dream about visiting this place. We're so fortunate to spend 4 nights and 3 days here. So in today's video, we're going to be showing you how to get there, hotels once you get on the island, as well as the first day's itinerary. Do subscribe and hit that little notification bell because we have the second and third day coming up shortly. This is the book that we used during our trip to Santorini. I loved it. I just wish we had something a little bit more modern, you know, like on a mobile. What's this? Wow, Ellie recreated our entire travel itinerary in Santorini. There's going to be a 2-day and a 3-day version, and we're going to show you where you can buy it. We've broken down this video into chapters, which you can see in the video's description. In addition, you're going to notice the new status bar at the bottom, showing you exactly where you are in the video. Happy viewing, everyone! We researched a few popular questions online. For instance, how to travel to Santorini, how do I get around on the island, where's the airport, and where do I stay? Don't worry, we've got you covered. We'll start with, how do you get to the island, and suggest a few options. In general, there are 3 ways to get to the island, each varying in method and price. In this section, we'll touch base on the question, how expensive is Santorini? At least the getting there part. The first option is to fly here. I couldn't believe that such a small island would have an airport, but they do. And ticket prices are fairly reasonable. From what we saw, the flights mostly run in and out of Athens, with a few exceptions. We've seen plane tickets starting from $50 Canadian all the way up to $200 each way. Feel free to use our Skyscanner link for single or multi-city trips. If you plan to fly to Santorini, which is the best option in our opinion, consider visiting Santorini at the beginning or end of your trip to Greece, because you'll most likely visit Athens at some point in time, and this will no doubt be the cheapest alternative for you. Stick with us as we unfold why. Now, perhaps you're wondering, Serge, how do I get around the island once I get to Santorini? Yes, I have the answer to that. When we researched hotels prior to our visit, we noticed many hotels offered transfers to and from the port and the airport. Look out for this service, which may be already included in your hotel price, or you may have to pay a little extra. Once on the island, it's possible to rent cars, scooters, and ATVs. Keep in mind, it's a small island with limited cars and resources, so be sure to reserve your ride as early as possible. And we're confident the rental price will easily be offset by the cheap airplane ticket, because the second option to getting to Santorini is by ferry. Within this option, you can choose to travel by foot or bring your rental car. Prices vary by ferry company. If traveling by foot, we've seen prices range from $75 to $140 Canadian per person. And if you plan to bring a car, it can cost an extra $200 each way. Imagine island hopping with a car. From Athens, we headed to Santorini by ferry. I managed to get the car to the port gates, but nowhere on our ferry ticket did we see a gate number. Luckily, we found the CJet kiosk nearby and asked him for clarification. After that, we managed to find the gate just fine. We found a paid parking lot where you can leave the car as you travel to Santorini. However, we wanted to drive around on the island, so we paid for the car transportation. Although we later found out that you can rent ATVs and cars once in Santorini. Driving and parking on the ferry was fine. There were valets guiding us during most of the movements. The only hiccup we found was a lack of communication when we docked. We faced an impatient staff member who behaved a little rudely. And we also felt uneasy leaving the ferry while the sea was agitated. Otherwise, it was somewhat of a smooth 6-hour boat ride. The ferry, despite feeling like the most expensive option to travel to Santorini, offers better comfort than the plane in my opinion. For instance, we needed to arrive at the port just 30 minutes ahead of schedule, we had larger seats, and we could get up and stretch our legs comfortably from time to time. There were snacks and drink options, and we were able to purchase 3-hour blocks of Wi-Fi at a very reasonable price. Today, thanks to traveling, I'm a smarter human being. And yes, that's because I've made mistakes in the past. And lucky for you, you get to learn from my mistakes. Looking at the info I've just uncovered for you, my favorite option is to fly to Santorini and rent a car once I get there. But we did it all wrong. And lucky for you, you can learn from our mistakes. For these reasons, we recommend that you visit Santorini and other islands, as a matter of fact, as you arrive in Greece or on your way out, because then you don't need to worry about parking your rental car. So overall, it ended up costing us $400 Canadian just for the car. We'll leave the necessary links in the description for you to run your own calculations. For instance, we used a Greca website for the ferry and Skyscanner for the plane tickets. Some of these links are through affiliates, and at no extra cost to you. There's a built-in commission regardless of how you book. And by using our links, it's like saying, "Thank you, Serginelli, for sharing all this great information with us." Oh, and the third option is the cheapest of them all. Attention to all you great swimmers out there. Santorini is a small island. When doing our research, we noticed its lunar shape, and the longest time travel by car would be roughly 40 minutes from end to end. Despite being a small island, there are many villages to choose from for your accommodation. From a geography standpoint, you might want to stay close to the port or the airport, especially if you have an early departure on your way out. If you're planning to rent a car, you can compensate your budget by staying in a smaller, quieter village. Ellie has uncovered great hotel options that I'll be going over with you right now. Once again, we'll leave the links in the video's description. And please feel free to use these for your research and bookings. Before we get there, I want to circle back to the question of how expensive is Santorini, because the answer to that depends in part on where you choose to stay. For instance, even Rick Steves himself said that Aegean is crazy expensive. Fira is not that far off. However, you can find cheaper options, which usually lead to smaller and more outdated rooms. If you're okay with that, by all means. However, there are other spots on the island that will offer you lower prices and great value. Listen on. Here are a few hotel recommendations to help you get started with your research. In Fira, we have great and affordable recommendations wonderfully located within minutes walk to the main sites. For instance, Villa Tula has great ratings on hotels and Google. Here the location is your best asset, and you might not be too picky about what the room looks like. Next, Hotel Antonia. They also have great ratings with 9.2 on hotels and 4.5 on Google. They appear to be fully booked 2 months out, which might mean they're onto something. Sweet Pop is another recommendation we have for Fira. They also have excellent ratings and location, and their rooms, like their name, kind of pop. Kamari Beach is another location we highly recommend for various reasons. Number 1, they're very close to the airport. 2, they have a beautiful beach. And 3, in our opinion, they have the best restaurant on the island. The name is To Pinakio. And we'll show you our experience later on in this video. The first option we have for you is Join Us Low-Cost Rooms. They have available airport transfer, alternatively free parking if needed, and visitors rated this hotel great for its proximity to wonderful restaurants. And if you're looking for more action, and a hotel closer to the beach, then check out Knossos Beach Hotel, with its lively night bars. Lastly, if you're dreaming of one of those hotels with a private pool and a sea view, and money is no object, then consider the bright and spacious Dana Villas and Infinity Suites, with their superior suite. It's highly rated, offering a free breakfast, a spa, and a first-class ticket to amazing sunsets. We stayed at the Aegean Melody Suites and really loved our experience. From delicious breakfasts every morning to our spacious flat and our private pool. That's the life. We were blessed with great connections in Santorini, and Emma, the manager at the hotel, was a jewel for us. For starters, Emma helped us with a later check-in, and the next day she went over the map with us and took the time to itemize the important sites to visit. She was very transparent and open, sharing information about tourist traps and highly rated attractions. Part of our now golden rule: when at all possible, connect with locals, because they hold the key to your greatest discoveries anywhere. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, we'll tackle the attractions in Santorini, starting with our first day experience. We'll answer questions like, what is Santorini famous for? What's the weather in Santorini? Where to eat? And much, much more. We started off by driving to the prehistorical village and archaeological site of Akrotiri. By the way, feel free to check out our Driving in Greece vlog, which covers many questions about getting around on this island. When we arrived at Akrotiri, it was a little unclear if the parking was paid or free. Erring on the side of caution, we parked in a large parking lot and paid a small fee. However, many people on Google Maps indicate that you can find free street parking. The amount of available parking will depend on the time of year you visit Santorini. For instance, in the middle of May, we were quite lucky with parking spaces in general. Once parked, we were minutes away from the prehistorical site entrance. Be sure to check their website for accurate pricing. So we're here in Akrotiri. We've got our tickets, 12 euros per person. You can buy a combination of 15 euros per person, and it combines a museum and another site. We decided just for this one here. The reason for this is Ellie and I were watching this TV series on Netflix about Graham Hancock. There's a Netflix special. He goes and visits these archaeological sites that like thousands of years before Christ. And this is actually one of them. Maybe it's here, maybe it's another one, but is very, very similar. And so we're going to go and visit that the village that they uncovered. They're still working on it. It's not really an active site, but it's still kind of active without really working on it right now. And we were really interested by it because it's something different. Sure, Santorini has a lot of views and the White Houses and the blue domes and all these things. There's not a lot of people here. One, probably because it's not really tourist season yet, and number two, it's not really beach destination, so very few people are here. So it's a really cool discovery. You have the odd groups that kind of go around, so you just let them pass and you can actually view the site for yourselves if you like. So let's go to our next destination and let's continue on. One of the most fascinating aspects of Akrotiri is its ancient past. We saw a Netflix special with Graham Hancock that goes by the name of Ancient Apocalypse. He visited a prehistorical village called Globeki Tepe that we believe resembles Akrotiri. In Santorini, this village is home to one of the most important archaeological sites in the Aegean Sea, the ancient Minoan settlement of Akrotiri. This settlement was once a thriving Bronze Age city that was buried under volcanic ash following a massive eruption of the nearby volcano Fira around 1600 BC. Fira is now known as Santorini. The eruption was so powerful that it is believed to have caused a collapse of the Minoan civilization on the nearby island of Crete. excavations of the site began in the late 1960s and have uncovered remarkably well-preserved buildings, pottery, and artifacts that offer a glimpse into the daily life of the ancient city. The site is often referred to as Minoan Pompeii due to its preservation and the similarities it shares with the famous Roman city. One little-known fact about Akrotiri is that the ancient city was remarkably advanced for its time. The buildings were multi-story with elaborate plumbing systems that included indoor toilets and sewage systems. The frescoes, or wall paintings, found on the site depict sceneries of everyday life, such as fishing, farming, and religious ceremonies, as well as the more fantastical scenes of mythical creatures and rituals. Feel free to even check hotels in this area on the Hotels Map viewer. You'll especially love this area if you're looking for a more peaceful and picturesque village that offers a glimpse into both its ancient and more recent history. The village is also a popular destination for those of you seeking quieter and more authentic experience in Santorini, away from the crowds and the more touristy towns on the island. One of Emma's recommendations was to spend more time discovering the smaller and less touristy villages of Santorini. Megalochori was one of them, and it's a hidden gem on the island. Thanks Emma for sharing this wonderful village with us, we loved it. Megalochori offers a peaceful retreat, which is quite welcome after trekking through Fira and Aegean's flock of tourists. One of the reasons people travel to Santorini is to see the whitewash houses and blue domes, and Megalochori offers just that. This village is renowned for its well-preserved traditional Cycladic architecture, which is a brilliant mix of cubic houses, blue dome churches, cobblestone streets, and iconic windmills. This village's architecture reflects its long history and cultural heritage, offering everyone a glimpse into the island's past. It's also possible to see traces of its Venetian past, with remnants of medieval architecture and fortified buildings. The Venetian influence can be seen in the design of the village's houses, churches, and central square, adding to its historical charm. There are 2 free parking lots at both extremities of this village. We found a parking on the northern point and then took a stroll up and down the main street. We enjoyed ice cream at Mr. Scoop, visited a few stores, and quickly checked out the Gavalas winery. Prior to visiting Greece, I bought a travel guide on the Greek islands. I wanted to use that guide to help us decide which island to visit. This little book led us to what we felt was the best restaurant we ate on the island. That restaurant is called To Pinakio. It was highly rated by locals who loved it for its traditional vibe and dishes. Local recommends, that's part of our golden rule. Cronus and his partner brought us a celebratory drink to start our experience. So we just arrived at this local place that we found actually in the travel guide. Really rare that we follow the travel guide itineraries, but this is called To Pinakio, and the reason it made it on our list is because the locals are actually really interested about this place. They really like this place. And the first thing they gave us is actually this, which is looks like some type of alcohol. It's on the house. So they gave us this for 2 shots. It's actually a little more than 2 shots. And let's go ahead and try it. I don't know, it's like a gin sambuca. It's got a different taste to it. It's really good. Really good. Cheers. Our great server, Cronus, recommended that we share a variety of starters to get a true taste of local dishes. Together we chose tomato keftedes, we finished them first. They're gone. This is Manori cheese. So it's a soft cheese in a pastry with some honey. Honey. Are you getting that? And some sesame seeds. So let's go ahead and cut that open.
Yes.
Let's dig into that first bite with some sesame seeds in there. And let's get some honey on there too. I feel like feed Phil right now.
Thank you very much.
It's like a roller coaster. You get the sweetness of the honey first, then you get the pastry, then you get the cheese, and then you get the sesame seeds. It's like in sequence. It's super delicious. Really good. Have some. Sausages and lahanodomades. I hope I pronounced these correctly. The service was exceptional, and so was the food. We stopped ordering, but they keep bringing us stuff. They brought us this homemade, not sure what it was, with some chocolate. It was delicious, and then that I finished. And in addition to the raki that was here before, and now they brought us the wine. So it's a red wine with some cinnamon and cloves. So it's got some spiciness to it. It's actually really good, and it's served cold. It's kind of like a porco, but like with more spices to it. Perfect combination with the dessert, but I think they offer this on the house. And what's really cool too that we found here in Greece is that they bring you a dessert. You don't order the dessert, you don't pay for the dessert, but they bring it to you. And it's kind of like a thank you for eating here. So I think it's really cool. And here the service, which was recommended from a tour guide book, we found was above and beyond. The food was delicious, the service was impeccable. They're always there waiting in comparison to other restaurants that we've been where people are always on their phones or distracted and not really caring. We find that here they're really attentive and discussing with us and interested, and they're interesting as well because they share their experiences. So it was really cool to come here. I was really looking forward to come here, and I'm really happy with the end result. So yeah, amazing. Great discovery. Cheers. Boom. After our meal, we visited a few local shops. And what we didn't realize at first was that this is a beach destination. We ate on the main avenue, but we found a whole bunch of restaurants on the waterfront. However, after walking up and down the waterfront, we felt a kind of desperation from those restaurants to get us to sit on their patios. This gave us the impression that it was a highly touristy area, and that they needed to fill their seats at any cost. In hindsight, this reassured us about our decision to eat at To Pinakio. However, if we stayed longer in Kamari, we would definitely consider having at least a drink on one of those patios. The sun was setting fast, and apparently there's something in the air that drives everyone bonkers for sunsets in Santorini. Kidding, not kidding. We set out seeking for this mysterious sunset and trekked 15 minutes by car. We looked out with parking on the street at the edge of Fira. Our idea was to have a drink at a restaurant or bar and watch the sunset. So, Google Maps was locked in with the boozery, and we were just a short 10-minute walk to this bar. It was a nice way to discover Fira. The time of day and the light was amazing, and you could tell it was a fancier village just with the storefronts and the rich sea views. Finally, we arrived at the boozery, and slightly disappointed. Not with them by any means. Everyone seems satisfied with their service with 4.9 on Google. We just expected a sit-down bar, but this was for takeaway. Another thing we came to realize in Santorini is that if you want a sunset view, you're best to make a reservation, because these seats sell out fast. At this point, it was too late for us to make any adjustments, because the sunset was minutes away. So we decided to find a peaceful place to watch the sunset. Wow, it was beautiful. We took our time walking back to the car, which is when we noticed a beautiful strawberry moon. Another wow. Before heading back to our hotel, we decided to check out Ftelos Brewery Santorini. Because, as some of you know, I'm a huge beer fan. In general, the beers were good, although I was hoping for a larger variety like reds and ambers. Ellie and I both love their wine beer.
%, of acidic wine from this vineyard here that you see.
Okay.
So the 51% comes from the lager beer, and we do 3 fermentations for this one.
Triple fermented. The beer fermented once by itself, same for the wine, and then bring them together for a third blend. It was crisp, smooth, and refreshing.
After we have the Blue Monkey Pale Ale, the alcohol is 6.5%. We have flavors of tropical fruit, stone fruit, and citrus. Grapefruit, mango, peach, apricot, melon. Very refreshing and hoppy beer, this one. After we have the Morton Marvel double IPA, the alcohol here is 7.8%. We have flavors of tropical fruit like papaya, passion fruit, pineapple, mango, more creamy texture also, and hoppy aftertaste. And the last one is the hibiscus saison. The alcohol here is 5%. This beer is fermented with hibiscus flower. That's why we have the red color. Yes, and also with lemon zest. The aromas here are more like red fruit, like sour cherry, strawberry, pomegranate.
Consider giving that brew a try if ever you visit. They also have a beautiful outdoor patio and interior decor. Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry, I'm just admiring Ellie's great work over here. So, what did you think? I'm still in shock that I've been to Santorini. It was great. Keep in mind that this was just day 1. We still have 2 more full days of travel itinerary to show you, with great insider local tips. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss this. Until then, stay safe, take care, and keep on discovering. We'll see you in the next vlog.